Brooke? Look, what can I do? You name it, anything. I'll do anything. Just don't take the children away from Tad.
Talk to my lawyer.
Brooke, really, please.
Dixie, don't.
Let me try.
Are you sure? All right.
Brooke, I know I'm being pushy and I'm asking a lot, but would you just listen to me?
We said all there is to say on New Year's Eve at the boutique, Dixie.
Well, nobody knew that you were pregnant then.
My condition is nobody's business but my own.
Using the kids to punish Tad is wrong. It's going to hurt a lot more people than you know, including yourself. Trying to keep those children away from their father is going to make you miserable. You'll never forgive yourself, Brooke, and you know it. Jamie loves Tad. How are you going to feel when he cries for his father?
Your concern for my children is so touching. I'd like to know where it was when you lied to your son when you were sleeping with my husband.
I said I was wrong. I hurt a lot of innocent people, especially you, Brooke, and I am so sorry for the pain that I caused you. And I don't want to cause any more.
No, what you mean is you don't want me to hurt you.
No.
Or Tad.
This custody thing has just gone so fast that nobody's had any time to calm down. And here we are. I mean, the judge is going to decide custody today. He's going to make it formal, legal, very hard to reverse.
That's right.
Brooke, you saw what happened when Adam tried to keep me from seeing my child. I mean, I suffered, Adam suffered, and most of all, Junior suffered. I was so desperate, I thought running away was the only way out, but it wasn't. Maybe you feel the same kind of desperation that I did, but I am telling you right now, running away doesn't work.
Are you finished?
You're a lot smarter than I am, Brooke. Please don't make the same mistakes I did.
You know what? You're right about one thing, Dixie. I am a lot smarter than you are. And the only mistake, the dumb mistake that we have in common is that we both trusted Tad Martin. And I, fortunately, no longer do that. And I'm going to take care of myself and my children in a way that you could not possibly understand in a million years. You think still that you are a good mother? You think that you're so devoted to the needs of your children? Let's just run a little reality check, shall we? Who took care of your children when you were off with Tad in California or in Canada or in New York?
Junior was well looked after.
Yeah, well, no thanks to you, Dixie. No thanks to you. You know what? You haven't learned a thing. And you want to stand here and you want to talk to me about parenthood? You, as if you know anything about putting a child first.
All I know, Brooke, is that a child needs two parents. So I'm begging you, before anybody else gets hurt, just forget about moving away, okay? Don't drag Jamie that way. Please!
Take your pathetic martyr act and get the hell out of here.
That's enough. We'll settle it in court.
You want to settle it in court? Fine. We will settle it in court. Judge Hale's going to make the pronouncements now, not your mistress. You tell her to stay away from me.
I know I really felt that I had to give it a shot, but did I make things any better? No, I just made them worse.
Dixie, you tried. And I love you for trying. And you never know, maybe something you said got through to Brooke on some level. Anyway, we're about to find out.
All rise. The court of this county is now in session. Judge Patricia Hale presiding.
Please be seated.
This is a hearing to resolve custody issues brought to light in the uncontested divorce of Thaddeus Martin versus Brooke English Martin, a divorce in which no property or settlement claims have been filed by either party. Is that correct, Miss Fry?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Mr. Logan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very well. Let's proceed to the all-important question of the best interests of the minor child.
Your Honor, the stipulation entered into and agreed upon by the parties regarding the future child custody speaks for itself.
I've studied the document.
Then you're aware that it was entered into by both parties with clear intent that sole legal custody of the minor child be vested with the mother in the event that the marriage was dissolved.
Your Honor, Mr. Martin acknowledges signing the agreement, which was drafted long before their marriage, when he initially learned he was the child's father. My client now seeks nullification and asks for joint custody of any and all children born to the union.
Your Honor, this is a legally binding contract. Mr. Martin and Miss English entered into it to protect the child from the very circumstances which have in fact occurred. Miss English determined upon Mr. Martin's miraculous return to Pine Valley that she would never risk losing her child. Her love, her commitment for the welfare of her son is unquestioned. She raised the boy alone for 2 years in which she believed Mr. Martin to be dead.
I'm familiar with the events.
Then you are aware that she was very wise in endeavoring to ensure that the relationship between herself and her son would not be severed, despite any future circumstances. Now that that day has arrived, I believe that this contract should be upheld, affirmed, and implemented without delay.
Your Honor, Mr. Martin signed the disputed custody document while he was recovering from his miraculous return from the dead. He was experiencing headaches, memory loss. He was under the care of a physician. In short, the document was signed under duress during a period of time when my client was not in full possession of his faculties and therefore not legally competent to sign it. He was anxious to soothe the doubts and fears Miss English expressed, yes, but he did not intend to relinquish his parental rights. On the contrary, Mr. Martin wishes to exercise those rights. He would like regular contact and healthy interaction with his son on behalf of himself and the child's grandparents, Dr. and Mrs. Joseph Martin and Mr. and Mrs. Palmer Cortland. James Edward Martin has built a happy and loving relationship with all of these people, and he should be allowed to continue that relationship. Your Honor, we ask that vengeance and bitterness on the part of the child's mother not take away from him this family. We ask that you find this document null and void. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Miss Fry, Mr. Logan. I've listened carefully, and I'm ready to announce my decision. I've studied this case carefully, taken into account the strong statements made by both parties. In the interest of the minor child, I hereby rule the disputed custody document null and void.
That's not fair. She can't do that. That document was legally executed. You signed that document in good faith.
English, please calm down.
You made a promise to me, and Jamie, you promised that you would...
Your Honor, please, may I have a moment?
No. Look, I'm sorry.
Very well, but warn Miss English I will not have disruptions in this court.
This is just wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong.
This is not a setback. We discussed this. We knew this was a possibility. Now we just move on to Plan B.
You don't care about this.
Of course I care.
This is an outrage to...
This is a court of law, and this is the one time where you have to appear only 100% in control of yourself.
He swore he would never do this.
Miss Fry, is something wrong? Does your client require recess, or can we continue with this hearing?
One moment, Your Honor. Brooke?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Your Honor. Please forgive my outburst.
Thank you. Now, we'll tackle the custody issue. Mr. Logan, we'll begin with you.
Yes, my client, Mr. Tad Martin, wishes to make a statement.
You may address the court, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Your Honor. My son Jamie was 2 years old when Brooke told me that I was his father. Since that time, I thank God every day for the gift that my son is to me. In return, I've tried to be the best parent that I can. rather an amazing experience. I teach my son how to throw a ball, how to play catch, and he teaches me all about patience. I've fed him. I've rocked him to sleep at night. I've taken care of him when he was sick. Now, I know that Jamie needs his mother. Every child does, but I also know that Jamie needs both his parents. And not just for a few days on some beach in the South Pacific somewhere. Jamie needs me. He needs his father on a regular basis. And I need him. Now, I'll do what's right for my family. I'll do whatever I have to cooperate with Brooke. Now, as long as she stays near Pine Valley, I know that we can work this out. Your Honor, I love my son. And I don't want to lose him. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Your Honor, Miss English has no intention of remaining in Pine Valley. She has already presented the court with ample proof that she is capable of earning a living in Hawaii or wherever else she should choose to live.
Your client's actions are strictly a punitive measure against her husband to keep him away from his child.
Your Honor, Mr. Martin is the plaintiff in this divorce action. It is he who abandoned his home. It is he who cohabitated with another woman. It is he who instigated the breakup of his family. And it is Mr. Martin who is attempting to be punitive by attempting to hold Miss English geographic hostage and to vilify her reputation.
How do you answer that charge?
Your Honor, my client is not a saint. He is simply a father trying to do the best by his offspring. At this point, I think it is important that the court know this week Mr. Martin learned, and not from Mrs. Martin, I might add, that she is expecting their second child.
As a mother whose prenatal concerns are paramount, Miss English certainly has the right and the responsibility to pursue the healthiest possible environment for herself as well as for her children. Your Honor, Mrs. Martin respectfully requests that sole legal and physical custody be granted to her of all minor children born to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rye, Mr. Logan. Both sides have presented powerful arguments. Mrs. Martin's right to pursue her career and choose a healthy environment for herself and her children is guaranteed by the United States Constitution. Yet what's also at stake are the rights of two children to know both father and mother and grandparents. Now, while the court does not deny the negative impact of Mr. Martin's abrupt divorce action, nor the painful effect it had and obviously still has on Mrs. Martin, it must also recognize a sincere desire by Mr. Martin to be part of his children's present and therefore be part of shaping their future. The court wishes that more fathers in this country felt that way. I'm afraid I must agree with the plaintiff that Mrs. Martin's abrupt decision to move to Hawaii, where she has neither family nor friends, to pursue a career seems punitive. Freelance work can be pursued in Pine Valley. Therefore, barring any new evidence brought forward to support such a move to Hawaii, the court rules that Mrs. Martin shall, for the present, retain physical custody of the minor child, Jamie Martin. However, she may not move this child further than 1 hour from Pine Valley and must grant generous visitation rights to Mr. Martin.
No. No, he can't do this. I'm not going to let him do this. His Tad's rights are not what they think they are.
Brooke, sit
There's
down.
something that you don't know.
Quiet in the court.
No.
Quiet. Thank you. Mrs. Martin, if you have any new information regarding anyone's rights in this case, this is the time to speak up. Have you anything to say?
Yes, I do. Tad Martin doesn't have any legal rights to make any sort of visiting arrangements for this child that I'm carrying. because this child is not his.